While I'm also checking that this is up and running and working properly on YouTube, which it should be. If you have jumped straight in on YouTube, usual disclaimer. Is it on YouTube? It should be showing on YouTube. I hope it's not showing on my YouTube channel. Why is it not showing on my YouTube channel? Give it a second. There it is. If you are on YouTube, usual reminder that I can only see the chat over here on YouNow. So if you are on YouTube, then you're going to want to head over onto YouNow if you want to be able to chat. That being said, there doesn't seem to be anyone in the chat on YouNow. If you're in there you go. Someone's appeared now. Maybe we've got a little bit of a delay tonight, which is a little bit weird. But if you haven't been in one of these live streams before, the general gist of what we do, I have a full cup of coffee. Here it is. It's a colour changing mug. Yeah, it doesn't look fully full, but that's because Tassimo. If anyone's got a Tassimo doesn't fill a mug all the way up to the top. So this is as full as I could get a mug in a colour changing Tassimo thing. So we've got the time it takes for me to consume that cup of coffee for us to have a little bit of a chat. We'll do a little bit of a Q&A. If there's anything you particularly want us to chat about. I know events happened on today's vlog that might be worthy of discussion. We've got E3 as well, which we might want to have a chat about. What else have we got? I'm not streaming on Twitch tonight or tomorrow night, so that's a thing we could maybe discuss. And can't think of anything else. Let's have a look to see what's going on down in the chat. Just one more reminder for anyone who was joining in on the YouTube chat late. If you are on YouTube and you want to get involved in the chat, head on over to YouNow, younow.com/Lelujo, and then I can actually see the chat. I can only see the chat over on YouNow. Otherwise it gets far too complicated trying to monitor the chat in two different places. So let's have a little look. Jensen's saying you annoyed me when you said Star Trek instead of Star Wars. Doesn't sound like something I'd do. I don't know what you mean. It is Star Trek, isn't it? Nunchuck just finished today's vlog. It's fantastic. I tell you what, today's vlog, although the actual day didn't go to plan, when I was putting that together, and that was a long edit, that took me 4 or 5 hours, which is long for me. You know, you watch my vlogs, you know I'm not the most skilled editor in the world. I don't do lots of fancy tricks. I don't do stuff like colour correction and all that stuff. So my workflow normally, I can get even a day out vlog like that or a Comic-Con vlog, I could get done in 2 or 3 hours. But today was a 4 or 5 hour job. But I actually think the end product on today's vlog, story-wise, is the best vlog we've ever done. Obviously, in an ideal world, some of the stuff that happened wouldn't have happened, but I think we actually have a solid beginning, middle, and end on the story, and I'm really proud of today's vlog. I think it's very cool. Right, let's have a look to see what folks are saying. Samuel says, how was Legoland? Things happened, Samuel. You need to watch the vlog. I can't answer that question briefly. Hey Kev, can't believe I found quite a long time ago before I actually discovered your channel. David, that's awesome. How and why did you find me originally? That's really cool. Will Andy ever have a phone? He's got my old phone. My old, what would it be now? An iPhone 6 Plus, probably. I gave it to him when I got my new phone around about this time last year. And I gave him my phone then so that he could play Pokemon Go on it, because he was into that at the time. And also to try and get him to film on it. And he's not been interested in either of them. He loves his iPad. He always used to love having an iPod Touch. He used to have, like, going back 4 or 5 years ago now, before the 2DS. It's going back that long ago. He used to, his system, and it was before his iPad. He had 2 iPod Touches, and he would use one while the other one was charging, and then when it ran out of battery, swap them over, so there'd always be one on charge and one that he was using. So he could go around and film everything on there. But for whatever reason, he's not... Well, I say for whatever reason, the iPod Touch he doesn't use because he dropped it in the car park. We were going to the cinema, an autism screening of something, I can't remember what it was, but he dropped his iPod Touch in the car park, landed right on the corner, the screen completely shattered, and from then on he never used either of them and wasn't at all interested. That's not long after he got the 2DS and the iPad, and he's never touched a phone-sized Apple device since. So yeah, it's... I'd love him to use a phone. It would be really cool. Does Andy use his DS a lot anymore? He still uses it for stuff around the house. He still uses it to play on. But he does all his filming on a camera now. I've started doing a Dave compilation. Do you want it to get sent on Twitter or uploaded on YouTube? However you want to do it, Thomas. What's my problem with Star Wars? I don't have a problem with Star Wars. I just don't think it's very good. Full disclosure, I've only ever seen the first one, which... A New Hope. I saw that 15 years ago. Wasn't impressed. Didn't bother watching the rest of them. Don't see what the fuss is about. Right, where did we get to? Okay, very close to getting a puppy, but my partner needs a little more convincing. What should we do? Just show them pictures, videos of Dave being Dave. How could anyone watch? I mean, that Dave compilation we were talking about before. How could anyone watch a compilation of Dave and not then want a puppy? Because Dave is a hero. I'm just glancing over at YouTube, noticing there are still a few people in the chat over on YouTube. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves over there, but if you want me to see what you're saying, you need to come over to YouNow, so younow.com/Lelujo, because then I actually see the chat over here. How am I today, Kev? Bobby, I'm good. I'm tired. It's been a long day, and it's been a long weekend. It's been a long few days. You should vlog the next Star Wars and take Amy. I just don't want to. I'm not interested. Amy's not interested. None of us are really into it. I've created a compilation called Best Moments of Andy. I might put it up on YouTube if that's okay with you. I don't mind as long as it's positive. There's been a couple of times where people have put some stuff up where they've been quite critical and negative about him. If that happens, I get those taken down. I'm not averse to using the copyright claim system on YouTube. I've done it a couple of times now to get videos taken down if I don't feel like they paint Andy in a positive light. But if you've got a video of him that you want to put up, by all means, put it up. I'll have a look. I'm sure it'll be fine. If it's positive, we have nothing to worry about. Hi, Kev. Just recently found your channel. Me and the wife are having fun trying to get our son's HCP sorted. Yeah, that's not the most fun process, is it, Andy? Hopefully all goes well for you. If there's any tips, I wouldn't say tips. If there's any advice you need or you want to ask any questions, feel free to fire them at me. But yeah, it's not the most fun process. My son has autism and he's starting to put his hands in his trousers. Did Andy do that? And he still does do that quite regularly. How old is your son, James? Does Andy like the dog? Not really. It's not. They just don't really have anything to do with each other. They kind of pretend neither of them exists. To the point where you've seen how Dave runs around on all the furniture in the house, but won't go on Andy's chair because he knows Andy's different. He doesn't go to Andy. What happened to a pug in a pub? The main thing that happened was I realised I don't go to pubs. If I go to a pub, I'll take the pug mask. Since I started the Pug in a Pub Instagram, I haven't been to a pub. So that was a pretty stupid idea. What I should do, though, is pug with a mug. Because I've got so many cool mugs that I could probably do a picture a day just of the mugs I already have for like 6 weeks. Which would be pretty cool. He's ignoring most of us, skipping people's comments. Katrina, I'm not. It's just the chat is refreshing so quickly. I'm just going with the chat. So it's luck of the draw whether I get to see you because there's so many people chatting. Don't worry, I'm not ignoring anybody. Hi, good video today. Andy's done really well. I am pretty excited for E3, Tig. E3 is my favourite time of the year. I love E3. I particularly look forward to the Microsoft conference, which is one at 9 o'clock tonight, because traditionally I've always been an Xbox man, which I know is controversial these days because it seems everybody likes PlayStation or PC these days, but at my core, if I had to just have one console, it would be the Xbox. So I'm very excited for the Microsoft one tonight. Hopefully we're going to see some really cool stuff. I don't know what. I haven't looked at any of the rooms. I still haven't watched the EA conference from last night. I'm massively behind on news of all kinds at the moment, but I am really excited. Can't wait. Have I played Fortnite? I've played Fortnite quite a lot. I've done a few Fortnite Twitch streams. Problem is I'm really, really rubbish at it, so I don't play it very much. Do I like Formula 1? No, not really. When I was a kid, we used to watch it, but haven't watched it for years. Do I play COD? I haven't for a long time. I've already said, do I play Fortnite? What does Andy call you? He calls me Dad or Daddy, or if he's angry with me, he calls me Kevin. Don't bother watching EA. The indies were good. I hear Unravel 2 is out now, isn't it? Which I know Anna was quite excited about because she loved Unravel. I've not played it. It looks really pretty, but I've just not had a chance to play it. But now Unravel 2 is out, which I understand is 2-player, and is suggesting that we do either a Twitch or YouTube co-op thing again, like we did with A Way Out, which could be quite good fun. I was just starting to read a comment and it disappeared. Just downloaded this app. Just a quick question: does Andy have a channel? If not, will you make him? Andy does have a channel. Not on this channel. Not on YouNow. He has a YouTube channel. I'm not sure what you ask him. He has his YouTube channel. He won't have a YouNow channel because, I don't know, can you see Andy sitting in front of a camera chatting to people like this? I would say it's fairly unlikely. Why is Andy called Rupert? Mainly, because, when I first met Anna and Andy, she always used to call him Roo, because Roo, short for Andrew. People who are called Andrew usually get called Andy. They sometimes get called Drew. Anna's different and called him Roo. And I just jokingly said, "Oh, is that short for Rupert?" I knew he was called Andrew, but I was just winding her up the way you do. And we had a giggle about it, and it kind of became a thing that we called him Rupert, which, he responds to it. It's awesome. Does Andy know you're not actually his real dad? I don't know. I don't know that he understands the concept of that, really. He knows I'm not mummy, and he's never met his real dad, or not since he was old enough to have remembered him anyway. So I guess, but me and Andy don't have the same bond that he has with Anna, obviously. As you've seen from the videos, she will always be the one that he goes to if he's upset or if he's angry or whatever else. They're very much the two. And I'm just the extra adult who helps out around the place, and he tolerates me. But I don't know if he understands the concept of real dad and all that kind of stuff. I'm just his dad. And how's Lucy related to me? Lucy's my daughter from my marriage, my first marriage, or only marriage, because me and Anna aren't married. What's the situation with him, Anna, and you with parenting? I'm going to need more information. Did his parents have a bad split? What, Andy and Anna, and Anna and Andy's dad? That's something Anna might want to talk about at some point. I don't really want to talk about it without her here. But his dad's not been on the scene ever. Where's Lucy today? Lucy is revising for her GCSEs, so she's somewhere around doing revision, hiding from the camera, usual Lucy things. Samuel, I agree, I should marry Anna. We've been engaged for over 5 years, but weddings are expensive and time consuming, and we've never really had the time or the money to plan or pay for a wedding. Looking back over our relationship, when we first met, I was a student and Anna was a mum on benefits of a kid who's got autism, and that's not entirely fair. She was doing college as well. She was doing a gaming course at college, a level 3 course at college. So we were both students when we met, so we had no money then. Then I went through then she moved in here and I started my teacher training, and when she moved to Peterborough, she'd stopped college, or she'd finished college anyway, and didn't go straight into doing uni because she was moving cities. So for a year or so, she was just a stay-at-home mum. Just a stay-at-home mum, he says, as if that's an easy job. But I was training to be a teacher, so we didn't really have any money then. And then when I actually became a teacher, Anna finally got to go to uni, so we didn't have any money then because we only had the one income. And then the whole school refusal thing happened, so Anna had to drop out of uni. I eventually ended up leaving work, and now she's still a student, and I'm still not earning as much money as I was as a teacher. So for the whole time we've been together nearly, what is it? No, it's over 6 years now. Me and Anna have been together. We've always been skint. So as much as we'd like to get married, there doesn't seem to be the opportunity to anytime soon. She's going to be at uni for the next 2 years. So we've got at least another 2 years of only one income coming in. And, being a one income family with 3 kids and a dog and very special dietary requirements for Andy, it's not realistic to find 3, 4, 5, 10, 15,000 pounds to pay for a wedding. So one day. Is Lucy's sister? Yeah, Lucy and Amy. So Lucy and Amy are my daughters from my first marriage, and Andy is Anna's son from a previous relationship, and we met about 6 years ago. So Andy is younger than Lucy but older than Amy. Do I not earn much as a YouTuber? I do all right. I can pay the bills, but I don't earn as much as I did as a teacher. It's catching up. It is increasing all the time, but I still don't earn as much as I did as a teacher. I remember for the last 6 to 9 months of being a teacher, I was a teacher and full-time YouTuber effectively. So I was my income had actually gone even higher than what a teacher's income would be. And we were putting most of that away. That's how we've got through this year, because we were putting most of that money aside because we knew, I mean, I'm not an idiot. I knew I wouldn't be earning as much money now as I was then. So all the extra money we were putting aside while I was still teaching got put to one side to cover now. And that pile of money is now pretty much gone, and we're okay. We can pay the bills at the moment. But we don't have any spare to pay for a wedding, that's for sure. What would you do if you got the money to have a marriage? Samuel, to be honest, I can't speak for Anna, she might disagree with me completely, but I think if I don't know, if we won 10 grand on a scratch card as an example, I don't think we'd spend it on a wedding. I think there's other stuff we would want first. I think it would be nice to pay off the car, for example. Because we didn't really expect to have to buy the car when we bought the car. My old car broke just as I was leaving teaching, and we acted fast and got one on finance. And it's not a lot of money, it's like £100 a month. It wasn't an expensive car, but it would be nice not to have to pay that £100 a month. So we'd probably pay off the car, we'd probably have a holiday, and I don't know, we probably wouldn't rush off and get married. Have you got any tips for me as a vlogger and YouTuber? I have my own channel, but about 20 subscribers and need more. So if you have any advice. Fern, all I can say is just keep making videos every day, or as often as you do it. And I would, if you're trying to grow a channel, I would always recommend daily, but with the proviso that don't do daily if it means you're stressing yourself out over it, or the quality of your content is suffering because you're rushing. But if you've got the time to go daily, I would go daily, and I would make sure every day you release the best video you've ever made. And I try and follow that guidance myself, and I have for the last 2.5, 3 years of having my channels. And I don't always stick to it. Spoiler alert, tomorrow's vlog isn't going to be as good as today's was, because most of today was spent editing today's vlog. So when you have a day when you're spending 5+ hours editing, then you don't have much to vlog about that day. So you kind of have to, it goes in ups and downs. But on the whole, I think the quality of the content I put out is increasing over time. And that's how you build an audience. Hi Kev, I'm watching Soccer Aid. I didn't even realise that was on. Awesome. Does Andy have a new TV? He doesn't have it yet. That's what we're getting him for his birthday. So his birthday's in July, and we're getting him a new TV then. Is Andy your first ever experience of autism? What did I know about autism before I knew Andy? I hardly knew anything at all. Yeah, he is absolutely my first experience of autism. We've since found out from various tests and things that I've done, and speaking to some of the professionals involved with Andy, there's a very good chance I'm probably on the spectrum somewhere, which probably comes as very little surprise to a lot of you. You've seen me do the autism test on the channel before. His social worker is pretty confident I've got Asperger's, so I say he's my first exposure to autism. I guess there was always me as well, but yeah, I didn't know what autism was before I knew Andy and learnt about it a lot. I've just had a notification come up saying there's quite a lot of people watching on YouTube at the moment. So if you are watching over on YouTube and you want to get involved in the chat, head over to YouNow. It's younow.com/Lelujo. I can only see the chat over on YouNow. So if you want to get involved in the chat, come over to YouNow. How did Andy react to first meeting me? He just kind of took it in his stride. It was odd. It was surprisingly easy. One day, I guess I was just in his house, and he just acted as if I'd always been there. From the word go, I'd always been there. It was really weird. It was really surprising how he managed to just take it on in his stride as quickly as he did. And to be fair, the girls were exactly the same. The 5 of us just clicked into being a family almost straight away. Me and Anna met in the May, and by the July she was here most of the time, and by September she lived here. So we just clicked straight into being a family straight away. It was clearly how it was always supposed to be. We just hadn't met each other yet. What subjects are you good at, or were you good at in school? Well, the ones I was good at, my A levels, I did maths, physics, and business studies. So they were the ones that I was good at school. But then at university, I did computer science, and I'm better at that than any of those other ones. But I was pretty good in school. I got good GCSE grades. I got good A-level grades. I did all right. The one thing I really struggled with was languages. I did German GCSE and found it really, really difficult. So to this day, I can't speak any other languages, and I wish I could, because I think it's an important skill to have, and it's just one I've never actually mastered. And it's weird because I can program computers in multiple languages, so you'd think I should be able to speak in multiple languages as well. If I can computer in multiple languages, I should be able to human in multiple languages too. Would we ever take Andy on holiday, trains and trams, and stay in a converted train, hotel or church convention? Maybe to all of the above. If that exists, please send me details about it. Right, where do we get to? Will Andy ever do GCSEs? Maybe one day. It'll be up to him. Maths, physics, business studies, becomes a YouTuber. Absolutely. Yeah, I am the definition of, oh, what a waste. I mean, I got a first in my computer science degree as well. I'm not an idiot, but I'm of the view that you got to do what you love, and I love doing this. So this is, and more importantly than that, even, this is what works for my family at the moment. I mean, I was a teacher before I became a YouTuber. I was a good teacher, I think. And I mean, if I'd have carried on teaching and not done this whole internet thing, I'd have progressed. I mean, I imagine I would have been a head teacher by the time I was in my mid-40s. I was on the right path to move towards that, but I didn't enjoy it. And it was really restrictive and didn't let me be a very good dad. I was a good teacher, but not a very good dad. Whereas now I think I'm a good YouTuber and a good dad. So I think that's important. I know it's hard to say, but do you imagine that Andy will live with you for his whole life? I wouldn't have thought so, purely because we want him to have some independence, because... And I'm always wary about how we say this, because it has the potential to come across as me and Anna saying we just want to get rid of him as soon as possible. And it's not that at all. Because what it actually is me and Anna are a lot older than him. So if we all did live in the same house for the rest of our lives, it would be exactly that. He'd live with us for the rest of mine and Anna's lives. But there's a very good chance, if all things are equal and averages play out the way averages do, that me and Anna will die 20, 25 years before Andy does. So let's say he lives with us until we're in our 70s and we die, and he's in his 50s when we die. What on earth is he supposed to do when he's in his 50s and he's got to figure life out for himself for the first time? So as scary as the idea of him being out there in the world without us to protect him in his 20s is, it's even scarier thinking about what it would be like if he had to do it in his 50s without us there to support him. So we want him to have as independent a life as he possibly can, and we'll have to see how things work out. I couldn't tell you now what age he'll be when he moves out, and I couldn't tell you if he's going to move into assisted living or whether he's going to be completely on his own or what. I mean, I just don't know. So many variables. Did Andy enjoy Legoland? He enjoyed parts of it. If you've not seen the vlog yet, you won't necessarily have seen. There are some bits he definitely didn't enjoy. I don't want to spoil the vlog though if you've not seen it yet. My son has Asperger's. He's 20 now. No sign of him moving out yet. I mean, yeah, and it might well be that that's the same situation with Andy. I mean, we're not putting an age on it and saying, right, as soon as he turns 21, he's out on his own no matter what. What we are, the way we've talked about it so far, and we're so far away from this, we haven't given it a huge amount of thought yet because we've had other stuff to focus on. But I think the view that we'd have would be, when the right opportunity comes up, then we won't turn it down just because we're afraid. So if an opportunity for him to go and live with some independence nearby, with, in some kind of assisted living situation, we're not going to turn it down just because we're scared. We will forget our own fear and go for it because it's the best thing for him, and then we'll judge it on its merits. And if it doesn't work, we'll bring him home and we'll try again at a later date. In an ideal world, we find somewhere, I don't know, plucking. I would like to think before he's 30, we found somewhere. But even then, we're not going to throw him out on his 30th birthday if he's still living with us. When Andy's having a meltdown, what goes on in your head? In my head or his head, I'm going to assume you mean what do we think. We're just trying to think of how to... Well, it's a combination of we're trying to work out what caused it, in case what caused it is still going on. And we're trying to think how to make it stop, because it's not fun for anybody, especially him. So I'm spoiling today's vlog for anyone who's not seen it yet. You might just want to cover your ears for a minute. But the situation we had at Legoland yesterday, most of which happened off camera, because you saw in the vlog that he said he didn't want to be filmed anymore while it was going on, which is fine. We always respect his wishes with that. But the thing that really set him off was seeing the wall blocking off the level crossing, and he dropped to the floor. So our first thought was, right, we need to get him away from this situation, because for as long as he's sat there looking at that wall, he's not going to calm down, because that's what's upset him. So we had to get him away from there. And we were also thinking things like, well, what do we do if he runs? What do we do if he starts lashing out? There's a crowd of people around here. How do we get him away from them? How do we protect him from them? And there's so much going on through your head. And we're so used to it now that we kind of just clicked straight into, right, let's get away from this situation. Let's go and find somewhere where he can calm down. Let's give him the time and the space that he needs. Reassure him, tell him it's going to be okay. And really importantly, give him the space to just work through it. And it took him the best part of an hour to properly calm down yesterday, but he did, and it was brilliant. What would you do a video with fathering autism via FaceTime or combining footage? I'd love to. It's something I would definitely like to do at some point. I need to talk to Asa about it at some point, because I think that would be a really cool thing to do. But we're both so busy at the moment that it's just really difficult to find the time. I am down to probably my last mouthful, so we've probably only got 2 or 3 minutes left. Good thing I used to be a teacher, so I'm used to drinking cold coffee, so I can string this last mouthful out for a little while. Would I do teaching again if I could? I think, and I've said a number of times now, I think that if YouTube disappeared tomorrow and the ability for me to pay my bills doing what I do stopped, and I had to go back and work for somebody else again, and I hope I don't ever have to. I love the freedom of being self-employed. I love being able to choose what I do each day, and I don't ever want to get away from that, even if it's not YouTube. Like, I'm writing another book at the moment. I've got other stuff that's going on. It's not just, I don't just wake up and do YouTube videos every day. I'm doing lots of things to try and protect our family as much as I can. But if it ever got to the point where I had to go and get a real job again, I can't think of a better one than teaching. I love teaching. I love this even more. How did me and Anna meet? We met on internet dating through eHarmony. Simple, easy. I always say I picked her out of a catalogue, because that's pretty much what happened. Do I like Pokemon Go? I did. I haven't played it for a long time, though. I would love to see a coffee with Kev. Oh, that one missed. I want to see how that ends, where you talk about dealing with professionals. We can do that at some point for sure. How do you always remain calm in stressful situations? I don't always remain calm, Georgia. I try to, because I think you don't really achieve anything by losing it. But sometimes obviously the situation gets so bad that you can't stay calm. You'll panic or you'll get angry or whatever it might be. But I would always try and stay calm. And this goes back to when I was teaching as well. You get a lot more out of people and situations through trying to be constructive. You don't get anywhere by shouting at the naughty kid in the room. I'm talking as being a teacher now. I'm not referring to Andy as a naughty kid before anyone panics. But, you know, if there's someone messing around in your classroom, you don't get anywhere by shouting and screaming at them. And I know a lot of teachers do that, and I just stop it. I mean, what are you achieving? All you're doing by shouting in that situation is you're making yourself feel better by shouting. It's weird. So I'd always try and stay calm and work together with people and be constructive. It doesn't always work out, but nothing ever does it? You just have to dust yourself off and try again. If there's one thing you wish to achieve by the end of this year, what is it and why? That's a really difficult one, because my goal for the year is 100,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. But it's something that's completely out of my control, and I don't like goals that are out of my control, because There's nothing I can do to make that more or less likely to happen. I can try and improve the quality of my videos, and I can try and advertise more, and I can try new things like YouNow and like Twitch and like Instagram and all these new things that I've added to the repertoire in the last 6 months or so to try and grow that audience. But ultimately, it's completely out of my control. People have to decide for themselves whether they like our content and whether they want to subscribe or not. So if we're talking about things that I actually have control of, I think what I'd like to achieve, I'd like to actually sort out my health a little bit now. I mean, it's been nearly a year since I left work now, and I'm not getting anywhere as much exercise as I used to do because I don't have to walk around. I walk from my house to my garage, and I sit down and I make videos. And my diet is a mess because I'm at home, and I need to sort out my health. I've got high blood pressure. I need to lose some weight. It would be nice to think I could lose, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds by the end of the year. And that's something I can control and I need to just get on with. Problem is, I don't. And I'm looking at a can of Dr. Pepper that's on my desk thinking, well, that hasn't helped Kev, has it? You say you want to lose 30 or 40 pounds? Don't drink that much. That'd go a long way towards helping that. Would I do a video of Alfie Day's pointless vlog to raise awareness of autism? If he would do a video with me, I absolutely would. I kind of think he probably wouldn't. Would I ever do a meetup in Peterborough? I don't know. My views on meetups, they're tricky because we've done a few and people haven't turned up for them. So I think I'm probably going to limit meetups to just events for the time being. So I'm going to be at Summer in the City. I'm going to be at VidCon when that's in England next February. I'll be there. I'm going to be at Comic-Con. I'm going to be at the gaming expos. But when we try and do stuff outside of those things, like when we were in London for Comic-Con weekend and we did a meet-up at a restaurant in the centre of London on a Saturday night, you know, you would think there would be people who could come, and only 3 people came, and it's challenging to arrange a meet-up that nobody's going to come to. So I think we'll probably limit them to events for now. Would I teach Andy to edit his own videos, or would that be something that, I mean, if he was interested in it, I would absolutely teach him. That's definite, yeah. How does Andy talk to the girls? I don't know. I've never seen him talk to a girl. Kev, tips for writer's block. And this is, I think that's going to be the last question because last mouthful coming up. My tip for writer's block is just write. And this was one of the first things I learned when I first started writing. Just write. It doesn't have to be about anything. Just pick up the pen and start writing, or grab the keyboard and start typing. And even if you start with, I can't think of anything to write, I'm really annoyed with myself. Why can't I think of anything to write? Oh, I hate it when I get writer's block. But just keep writing. Write all that stuff down. And don't let yourself stop. And set a timer. Say, right, I'm going to write for the next 10 minutes, the next 15 minutes, the next 20 minutes, whatever it might be. But don't stop writing and just force yourself into doing it. And yeah, a lot of what you do will be absolute trash. But eventually, that as a mental warm-up activity will get better at getting you into a flow state, and you'll just start writing. So yeah, that's what I always used to do. And I got to the point when I was writing my revision book, I did that whilst working full-time as a teacher, and I would get up at 5 a.m. every morning and I would write for an hour and do between 2,000 and 3,000 words in that time, and then 6 o'clock another alarm would go off and I'd stop writing, and then I'd get ready to go to work. And I did that for a month. So I wrote that book in a month of just getting up for an hour a day, writing solidly for an hour, not letting myself stop. And then, yeah, it needed quite a lot of editing because some of it was drivel. But we got a complete book from idea to published in about 8 weeks because I just wrote. Right, I am going to take this last mouthful. Andy coping with puberty. We did a video on that last weekend. So if you want to know about Andy coping with puberty, which I can see a few of you are asking, watch the video from last weekend. That would be your best bet. But thank you very much to everyone who's been involved in the stream tonight, both here on YouNow or over on YouTube. Thank you very much for the excellent support as well. I can see there's lots of this fan stuff flying in. I still don't really know what it all means. I understand it has something to do with me earning money, which is nice, and thank you very much for the support there. It's much appreciated. I mean, there's so many of them that have come through that I haven't been able to thank you as they've been coming in, because it would have just been a stream of me saying thank you. But understand, I do appreciate everyone who's done that. And anyone who's just sat along and watched, asked a question. It's fantastic to have someone to talk to when I come online. It's just very, very cool. But I will be back tomorrow night, same time, for another cup of coffee. So 8 p.m. tomorrow, back here on YouNow. And I hope you all come and join me then. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Where's the button thing?